Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Maria and on my channel I create videos around nursing and I also have a handful of lifestyle content. I am trying to get to 10k subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys subscribe to my channel and also if you gave this video a like. Not only does it help with the growth of my channel, it also tells YouTube that you would like to see more videos like this. As usual, this video is in partnership with www.nursingpersonalstatement.co.uk. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing 5 tips that will help you during your nursing school virtual interview. The tips in this video do not negate the need for you guys to practice to read the relevant documents. The first tip that I want to share with you all is make sure you have good lighting. If that means making sure you turn on the lights, if it means you placing your camera or your laptop or your computer in front of a window, then make sure you definitely do that. Think about it. I feel like the principles of a good virtual interview are very similar to the principles of a good YouTube video. Just imagine this video, if it was super dark, if you could barely see my face, and then compare that to a video where it's light, where you can see my face, where you can see my hand gestures. It doesn't really, like I said, improve the content of what you're saying, but it will work in your favor. The second tip that I want to share with you is making sure that you have a clear background. And when I say a clear background, I don't mean completely plain. I don't mean a white wall with nothing on it. A background like this would be perfect. A background like this would be perfect. A background like this would be perfect. A background literally like this would be perfect. When I say have a clear background, I just mean have a background that is not distracting. You don't want to be in your Zoom interview and then you've got like kids running around in the background, or you've got your dog, you know, barking out the window in your background. You don't want a background that is going to be too busy, because you want the person who is interviewing you to be focusing on what you are doing and what you are saying. Clear background doesn't mean completely plain. It just means a background that is free from major distractions. Say for example, if in your room or if in your house somewhere you have a poster and that poster is potentially very inappropriate, you don't want to have the poster as your background. Another thing, let's just say if you're going through like a whole bunch of letters and you've got some confidential information that you don't want to share, then make sure that that is not in the background of your Zoom interview. Another tip, I know that this will be very hard to achieve for some people just because of, you know, the environment that we're in right now, but try and find a quiet environment. If that means, you know, locking yourself in a room, make sure you've got another exit point. But if that means, you know, locking yourself in a room, then do that. But try and find a quiet environment. Like I said, this can be very hard because, you know, government guidelines, we're all being told to stay at home. That also includes noisy family members. If you know it cannot be helped, if you know that during your interview that there will be noise, then right at the start of the interview, just say, hello, I just want to, you know, mention that there will be some noise in the background. I am in this house with X, Y, and Z. I'm not the only person in this property. I tried my best to try and find a quiet environment, but this is as quiet as it's going to get. And best believe the person who's interviewed is going to be like, okay, fine, thank you for letting me know. This is really important if you've got any pets. If you live in, I don't know, some sort of like shared housing and people aren't really considerate. If you've got any kids, if you've got like any building work going on at the moment. Like yesterday, there were building works. Like it was so loud, I thought they were in my house. And if I had to have my Zoom interview that day, there was no room in this house that I could have gone to that, you know, you would not have heard what they were doing. So if I had my Zoom interview yesterday, I would have just said to them, I'm really, really sorry, but there are building works going on right outside my house. This is the quietest room that I can find. You know, I really hope that it isn't too distracting. And if you know it is going to be very noisy, then try and, you know, project your voice and try and, you know, talk louder. Going back to my previous tip where I said make sure you have a clear view, also make sure you have a clear view of yourself. Don't have the camera so close where all they can see is your face. Like it isn't necessary. I recommend having the camera close enough where you have your hip upwards or where you have your chest upwards. That way, if you do talk with your hand gestures, they can see your enthusiasm, they can see you leaning forward on all of that stuff, because it really will work in your favor. Think about it, in real life, if you were having your interview, that's the distance that you would be at. You probably have like a table in between you. You won't be so close where you could count how big and measure how big their pores are. Try and mimic the environment that you would have been in if you were actually invited for your interview. or if you were invited to the university for your interview. Just make sure you are on time for your Zoom interview. I recommend being at least 5 minutes early. Don't be the sort of person who's like, oh, my Zoom interview is at 1 o'clock. I'll just quickly log in, you know, at 12:50. No, because when you want to go log in at 12:50, momentarily you forgot your password to log in, and then once you've logged in, your laptop or your computer says it's low battery. Now you're rummaging around trying to find your battery pack. Once you find your battery pack, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is the ideal location to have my interview. But then because your laptop or your computer is low battery, the socket isn't going to extend that far enough. Like, guys, I'm thinking of worst case scenario, but honestly, make sure you are prepared and ready at least 5 minutes before your interview in terms of making sure that you're logged in. But in terms of like setting up, make sure you set up at least half an hour before your Zoom interview is scheduled to start. So if your Zoom interview is scheduled to start at 12 o'clock, then make sure everything is ready at 11:30, and then by 11:55 the latest, make sure you've logged on, you've clicked on any relevant links that they've told you to log on to. Don't leave it 5 minutes before you start thinking, oh my gosh, where am I going to have this interview? You know, where am I going to put my webcam or my camera or things like that? Just don't do that, because honestly, it really isn't worth it. Set your camera up at 11:30, do whatever you need to do, come back, you know, 20-25 minutes later, do your interview, smash your interview, leave with University Place. That's all you need to do. The final tip that I want to share with you all is make sure you do a test run. Make sure you do a test run, guys. If you have never like legitimately or never officially used the webcam feature or the camera feature on your laptop or on your phone, or I don't know, on whatever camera device that you're using, make sure you do a test run at least a day. As soon as you found out that you've been invited for a virtual interview, make sure you do a test run of everything. Because you could have the latest Apple Mac, you could have the latest computer, the latest, you know, laptop, but if you've never used it, if you don't know how to use it, it's actually completely useless. Make sure the camera's working, make sure the speaker are working, and also make sure that the microphone is also working as well. And make sure it's compatible with the program that you'll be doing it on. For example, on my computer, I know that the microphone, the speaker, and the camera works. I know it works completely fine. However, if I'm to log on to MS Teams, Microsoft Teams, or if I'm to log on to Zoom or Skype, then I'm going to have to give Zoom or Skype and or MS Teams the permission to use the camera, to use the microphone, to use the speakers. If I don't give the software the permission to do that beforehand, then it isn't going to work. So make sure you do all the relevant technical stuff first. I feel like that is the most important thing, the most important tip that I've shared with you. I hope that video was very helpful for you. Like I said, I am trying to get to 10k subscribers, so make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also give this video a like, comment if you've got any questions, any comments, any queries. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.